There it is. Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for jumping on. We have some people on Facebook, some people on YouTube. Let me know where you are watching from. But tonight, celebrating 2 years on YouTube. It is actually technically a little bit more, but 2 years ago today, I posted my very first actual YouTube video. I had some other videos on there that were kind of from, when we were shut down from church. I was putting sermons on there. So anyway, we'll get into that later, but thanks everybody for jumping on, and hopefully some others will get on, and feel free to throw some questions in the chat. This isn't necessarily a question answer night, but that's okay too. Here to hang out with you, have a little bit of fun, try to figure out what I can do to celebrate 2 years, and I thought, why not just go live? So in a little bit here, we're going to go back and look at some of my old videos and dig into those a little bit. And then I thought I'd share my testimony with you. Some of you don't really know me as a person. You just know me from YouTube. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to help you do that. Of course, I have to say to you, make sure if you have not yet done that, you subscribe. If you're watching over on Facebook, jump over to YouTube and make sure you subscribe to my channel. Let's jump into, hopefully this works all right. You guys can hear me. We're going to jump right in to checking out some of my old videos. And if you're fairly new, there are a lot of videos on my channel. I have over 150 videos on here. So if you're new and you haven't seen them all, you need to go check them out and watch a lot of these, a lot of good memories, some good laughs on here. But I thought I would take you back. We're going to go all the way back to what started it when we were at home. When we were not able to meet for church. I love looking down here before I even knew what a thumbnail was, because YouTube is famous for grabbing, just grabbing any picture, and they never pick the good ones. Didn't take me long to figure out I needed to put a thumbnail on there. But I started live streaming from home. A lot of you guys have seen the pictures. If not, one of these days I'll share again. I had my cell phone up. And I learned fairly quickly I had to flip it around and have the front or the rear facing camera, because if I could see myself in the screen, of course I was looking at the screen and not in the camera, but I just had my iPad. I had a really bad little microphone that I was trying to use to do whatever I could. And when I pull this video up, you're going to see I didn't even know enough to mirror. I didn't know enough to mirror the image. Oh, hey, thanks, Dean. Just a second, and I'll answer that question. I'll answer your question here in just a minute. So anyways, this is it. This is one of my first ones. Can you guys hear that?
Through the rest of the week, my goal is to try to get one out each day.
So you can see, I'm not going to spend a lot of time watching that, but you can see a couple of things. Terrible background, and that was what really started this. I wanted to make sure if our church people had to watch me, that they weren't stuck looking at this all the time. Not so good in front of the camera either. But it didn't take me long. Wrong button there. It didn't take me long to upgrade a little bit. And those of you that have been with me from the beginning, you remember. So then I moved to a corner, and let's look at this one.
Start today by asking you a question and make.
So I'll mute that. But you can see my background improved a little bit. And then I started thinking about YouTube. I'll talk about that in a minute, why I started on YouTube. But as I started thinking about YouTube, then let's see, where did it go here? Somewhere in here, probably this one. Probably this was where I kind of debuted it. Oh, look at that. We got an ad. Of course we have an ad. So now you can see an improvement. I've got some lights going, and this, the church people especially, they made this was a big deal for them. I got a Yeti microphone that's long gone. Put some lights up, and then this background was really cool. It is just some vinyl that looked like bricks, and then Amy helped me hang this picture, and we hung it with some thread or some fishing line so you couldn't even see it. And man, what I didn't like about that is being at home, I had to wait to start recording videos, and this was the very first YouTube video I actually uploaded for YouTube. I had to wait for the kids to go to bed at night so it was quiet, and then I would try to record a video, and then I'd tear everything back down. I tell you, one of the greatest blessings for me is to have a room in our church that is my studio. Stuff stays set up. Eventually, I'm going to be able to show you. I'm going to make a video and do a studio tour, because I'm actually working on setting up a couple of different studios in this room to be able to help some people out. And then from there, it just kind of it increased, and but I look back on those and I can't imagine how far I've come talking, just being comfortable talking in front of the camera, and seeing what it was like in the beginning and how I learned. I want to catch some comments here. Thanks, Scott, by the way. Scott Connor is a huge part of what has happened here. You guys probably know Scott from the live streams that we're doing on here. But thanks, Scott, for that. I've just learned so much along the way, and I have just kind of no plans here. We're just hanging out for a little bit. Going back to Dean. Dean's hanging out with us from Canada. Dean, thanks for jumping on here, by the way. And those light bulbs, I'm assuming you're talking about these light bulbs right here, I think. So that is, those I bought at Menards, and they take batteries, and they come with a remote, and I can just change the colors. So that's what those are back there. Oh yeah, Dean says, here's another one, guys. This is what live stream is for you. Like this is just kind of hanging out in the comments and seeing what people are saying. Dean said he thought the first video he saw of mine was in a park, and I did a video in the park. I'm not a great vlogger. I'm trying to get better at that, but I do try to change up some of my scenery. And guys, it's getting warmer, maybe. I mean, what happens is where I am in my studio, I love having the studio, but in the winter it's cold, and in the summer it gets so hot I can't stand being in here. So when summer hits, you'll probably see a lot more videos outside of this studio. Now, I was able to upgrade and get rid of some of the really hot lights that I have. I have LED lights now, so that's going to help. But yeah, that was a long time ago, and even talking about my YouTube journey then, I've been following Dean for quite a while, and he's been following me, and appreciate Dean a lot. Let's see what else is in here. So if you have any comments, throw them on here for sure. I would appreciate that. Let me just rearrange a couple of things here. Yeah, I know I said I was going to react to some videos. I just kind of wanted to show you my journey more than anything, a little bit of looking back over the last couple of years and how far that has grown. My cameras have improved. As you can tell, my background here has improved quite a bit. Eventually, a new desk. I'm working on several of those things. And then, like I said, I have had the opportunity to work in some other areas with some other people on YouTube. So I'm going to be setting up a studio that kind of is dedicated to them. And then I'm going to talk about a couple of other things here real quick. Matt, how you doing? Thanks for jumping on, and thanks for the shout out from the Solon crew. Known Matt since before I moved up here, way before YouTube days. But thanks so much for jumping on and saying hi, Matt. I appreciate it. Appreciate your faithful. A lot of these people that are on here tonight are faithful listeners, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And Scott says, "What are my plans for the future?" That's a great question, Scott. One of those is just I'm still going to do some of the random videos that I do. I kind of call them random. My title was for a reason, Thinking Out Loud. It gave me the opportunity to just kind of share whatever was on my heart, which is what I've done for 2 years, just shared what's on my heart. One of the things the Lord has really been working in my heart as I have been, and this is maybe a story for another time, but the Lord has allowed us at our church here to begin really pursuing a disciple-making culture and seeing the fruits of that. We've learned a lot. It's been so far about a 7-year journey. And one of my goals is in the near future to actually start kind of bending my videos, I guess, if you would say. There's still going to be some of those more random things, but I really want to start producing content that's going to help people think about what type of a disciple maker they are and think about their churches and just sharing what we have learned over the years. So that's a great question. And then Scott and I continue to live stream as well through another ministry that we have that really ties into this. And you guys see me on YouTube with him as well. We're going to keep doing that. And then I'm on the board of a mission, a church planning, a home church planning board, and we are actually trying to get them going on YouTube. And that's one of the areas that we're going to use here. We're going to give them a corner here that's just going to be their studio. And my goal is to build a desk that has wheels, and all my lights, my cameras, everything are all fastened to this desk. And so my goal is to be able to just take this desk and turn it. And I have a couple of different studios built. One of those is over here, a studio that I want to use partly for my channel and then partly for another channel. I want to share a couple of things with you that I just kind of jumped in and didn't. There's some areas that you can find me if you enjoy consuming the content that I put out there. And probably just about everybody that's listening knows, but I do a weekly podcast with a friend of mine, Jason Sawtell, and that's called the Hey Pastor podcast, and you can find that wherever you listen to podcasts. So I would encourage you to do that. Also, as a result of all this YouTube stuff, I have started a family travel channel, and I started that about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. It's not nearly as active as this channel, but it's still out there, and I still add videos to it. So if you have not subscribed to Putnam 5, just go look for us on YouTube. You'll enjoy that. You'll see my kids. You'll see my wife. And the goal with that is just to explore Michigan and take you with us, take people with us. So if you're not from Michigan, it just gives you an opportunity to see some of the things that we have here that we get to enjoy. But really our goal is to help people in Michigan get out and explore. And we're still building that. We've still got a long ways to go. But would be really encouraged if you got on there and subscribed to Putnam 5. Just continue to work at that. Another thing I want to mention is I'm doing a challenge. I've kind of put this challenge on myself that I would kind of create some content daily for a month, and I'm working towards that in May. Right now, I have content that's already scheduled, uploaded, and it's going to come out on my Facebook page, Thinking Out Loud with PJ on my Facebook page. If you haven't followed that, do that. And every single day, there's going to be content that comes out that just encourages you, challenges you in the Word. And then I'm also working on doing daily YouTube shorts. If you don't know what those are, I think most of you do, but if you don't know what shorts are, they're a video that's a minute or less. And so I'm recording every day, kind of just a verse of the day. They're going to come out at 7 o'clock every morning for the month of May. And you can jump on there and just literally it takes a minute or less of your time. And I read the verse and just kind of share some thoughts with you. So be looking for those. I would really appreciate that. I also kind of wanted to give a couple of shouts out tonight to some people. I first of all need to give a shout out to my wife and tell her thank you. She has been a great encouragement to me through all of this. She's been very supportive, understanding of the ministry, excited about the ministry. She's listened to my constant, just when I get excited or I get an idea and I start jabbering about YouTube, she just listens. She's been okay with or even supportive in a lot of ways, and allowing me to spend some of the money that I have to be able to build this studio nicer, and just kind of put up with all that YouTube brings into our life So I appreciate Amy, and the kids get excited about it as well. They especially enjoy the Putnam 5 channel, but they like to sit and watch Daddy's videos, and so that's always encouraging to me. So a shout out to my wife. Couldn't do this without her, and very thankful for just what she has put into this, even helping me with ideas for decorating the studio, and man, just so much of it. Appreciative to her. And then there's a lot of faithful people who have been with me from the beginning. But there is one person who just always, I know, will be watching my videos and is excited to watch my videos, and has actually been a support. He and his wife have been a support to my channel, helped even with gear, just a continuous encouragement. And there he is right there. Rich, you are a great encouragement to me. There are days that I'm like, you know what? Is it worth it anymore? And then Rich will text me and tell me how much he appreciated one of my videos, and it just keeps me going. So Rich, thanks so much for your continued watching. And I know he texted me just as I got on, and so thank you to the whole Hayes family that's watching. And Rich has been, he's always listening to me too, as I'm learning new things and trying to figure out new things. And he usually gets a text when I get something new, so wanted to give a shout out to him. And then there's one other person that I kind of want to give a shout out to. And there's a really, it's kind of a group of people, but one person who heads it up. And I've said before, there are several people that I don't think at different times, there's people that I don't think I would have made it 2 years without them, because YouTube can be difficult. It can be a grind. And quite frankly, the success that I hope to have has not happened. I'm always reminded that with God, my success is not what he sees as success. And the channel continues to grow, and I'm thrilled by that. In fact, I jumped on here tonight and saw another new subscriber, and so I'm encouraged by that. But along the way, I was encouraged when I first started by a class I was taking to go and find people in your niche and follow them and see how they do things. And so when I started searching, I found a group of pastors, and then I figured out that they were actually all in a group. There's a group out there, Trey Van Camp. I want to, first of all, we'll just go find him on YouTube and give him a subscribe to his channel. But Trey Van Camp started it's called Value with Video. It's a course to help pastors use video and especially YouTube in their ministries. And it was a fantastic course. But better than the course was the community. We have a closed Facebook group, and we communicate all the time. We have Zooms, and we've really gotten to be friends in this group. So all those guys that are there, we're always communicating. You've seen some of them on my channel. You're going to see some more on my channel. And we just keep each other going. So I just want to say thanks to Trey for starting that group and really kind of keeping that group going. He keeps encouraging us, and there's just so many things I've learned. YouTube, it was not, when I started it, I thought, well, I'm just going to make videos. I'm going to throw them on YouTube and see what happens. And YouTube is not that way. There's a science to it. You have to understand the algorithms. You have to know what you're doing. And there's always something new to learn, from trying to get the best thumbnails, the best titles, the best topics for videos, as well as improving all the stuff that you just see. So this group of guys really keeps me going and helps me with that. So thanks to all my Value with Video buddies that are out there, and I appreciate the camaraderie and the text of encouragement and all of that. So those are the people that I kind of just wanted to acknowledge here at my 2-year mark. So to close this thing off with what I suppose I kind of promised you, other than kind of lame video reaction, but that's okay. I just, like I said, I wanted to show you. It's fun for me to go back and look at those and see how far I've come production wise. But I thought I would share my testimony. So for those of you who don't know who I am and don't know me well, this is a great opportunity to do this. I was born into a Christian home. I was a solid Christian home. My parents were faithful to church. My dad was a deacon in church. They were youth leaders. The joke always kind of was, if the doors were open, we were there. And I guess I don't mean it as a joke, but it just, if the doors were open, we were there. But more the joke was, we were probably the ones to shut down the church. Often we were one of the last ones to leave. So church, it was the church community was everything that I kind of knew. My best and closest friends were all church kids. Sunday afternoon, I'd be going to their house or they'd be coming to my house. And that was just a life that I knew. But I guess when I look back and I think about that, I think I just kind of assumed that because my parents were Christians, I was okay. And we know the Bible says that that's not true. Just because our somebody in our family is saved, then we are not. That it's a personal relationship with Jesus. And so I didn't really think a lot about it. And at one point, we had a baptismal class in our church. And so I went through this baptismal class. And apparently, whatever I told the deacons or pastors for my testimony about how I was saved, they believed me. I did a good enough job that they believed me. They understood, they thought that I was saved. And I remember one night, we were sitting having family devotions and the phone rang, and this was shortly after the class. And my dad answered the phone, and it was the pastor of our church. And the pastor was asking, apparently I could hear part of the conversation. The pastor was asking why I wasn't going to be baptized. And my parents weren't going to have me be baptized. And frankly, it didn't bother me. I guess when I look back, it just didn't bother me that they weren't going to have me be baptized. But I do remember hearing my dad tell the pastor that they were not convinced that I was saved. That kind of got my attention. That got me thinking. So that was family devotions before we went to bed. I went to bed. It was in January. It was a cold night in a Michigan farmhouse. There was no reason that I should have been hot, but I was hot. I could not sleep. I was definitely under conviction of the Holy Spirit as a little boy. And so I just laid there, and finally I woke my dad up, and he came in, and I remember him asking me, well, do you want to wait until morning? And I said, no way. If I died tonight, I know that I would spend an eternity in hell. Because I am not saved. I am not a Christian. And we knelt down there by my bed, and I confessed my sins. I repented, and I received Christ as my Savior. And the thing about that is, because I was in a Christian home, I don't remember feeling this major change. Now, I was baptized that next day. Or that week, I did end up being baptized, which was pretty neat. By that time, my parents had become missionaries, and so we were in the process of moving to a unique mission field. And it was through that process of really just growing up and being around the ministry that the Lord really began to change me. We often hear testimonies of people who were changed drastically. I know people who, they give their testimony, and God changed them drastically. And I didn't see that, but I was still a young boy who was dead in his sins, and Christ made me alive. And he had a plan for me, and I wasn't sure what that plan was. I grew up on a farm in Michigan, or at least I spent my younger years there, enough to really catch the bug. And that was all I ever really wanted, was to be a farmer. That's what I love to do. But as we went in the years through ministry, just to give you a little catch of, or a little idea of what the ministry for us was like, my parents were missionary builders with Continental Baptist Mission, and it's really kind of a unique ministry. We raised our support as any other missionary would, but we moved into a 38-foot-long travel trailer. I was homeschooled, and we would travel all over the country. And where a missionary church planter, especially a Continental Baptist missionary church planter, when they planted a church and it grew, and so that they couldn't be in the school or in their home or wherever they were meeting, then we would come with a team of other builders, and we would actually physically build the church for them, and then we would move on to the next one. So I spent a lot of my years growing up in small mission churches, and that impact was huge because the Lord used that really to show me that he had full-time ministry for me, or what I like to call vocational ministry. When I was in high school, I was either a sophomore or a freshman. I might have even been a freshman. We were in a little church, and there was no youth group, and one of the missionary builders that was there, they kind of took over the youth group. And I remember we never did anything fancy, but the cool thing was we just knew that they loved us, they cared about us, and we just got to get together and have youth group and have a good time. And we were growing, and they wanted to do a teen service where one Sunday evening the teens just took over the service. And I remember the missionary saying, "Hey, is there any of you boys who want to preach?" And I have no idea to this day. I don't know why I felt that I needed to preach. But I do remember thinking, if I don't volunteer now, I won't do it. And if I volunteer now, I can't back out. So I raised my hand. I said, "I'll preach." And the first time I preached, I realized how much I loved and enjoyed preaching. Just loved it. It wasn't very good, like anything else. If we could go back and see my first preaching a little bit like we saw my first studio and stuff tonight, it would definitely reflect that. But the Lord used that in a great way to give me that love for preaching. And then as a sophomore, when those missionaries left, there was nobody there to run the youth group. And the missionary church planter came to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in running the youth group?" And I thought, man, I'm a sophomore in high school. I have no way what am I doing running this youth group? So I said, "No, I don't think I'm interested." And he said, "Well, just so you know that if you don't, there's nobody else to do this, and we're not going to be able to have youth group." So I agreed. I said, "All right, I'll do youth group." And that was what the Lord, between the preaching and me doing youth group there, that's really what the Lord used to impress on my heart, give me a desire for vocational ministry. And so then as I grew up with that in my mind, in my heart, and I was able to preach several different times in high school, went on to Bible college, and went on to Bible college to study for ministry, and then I ended up 12 years actually as a youth pastor here in Michigan. But I was bivocational. I stayed there for 12 years and really just enjoyed the ministry. Before the Lord moved us just a little bit farther north here in Michigan, where now I am a senior pastor at a church. That's my full-time gig. I know a lot of people, especially a lot of pastors, are looking at YouTube for an opportunity to earn a little extra money to help pay the bills. If the Lord ever allowed me to earn a little money off YouTube to help pay for the habit, I would do that. But the Lord has been gracious and allowed me to be a full-time vocational pastor. That's my first love and my number one ministry. So really, this is a side ministry for me, but I hate to call it that, because this ministry gives me an opportunity to speak into the lives of the people in my church through the week. I have picked up many more subscribers, guys like Dean and other guys and other ladies and people that have jumped on and they watch consistently and they appreciate my content. But whenever I make a video, when I make content, my very first thought is for my people. I'm making content for the people in my church, for something that's going to help them. And I found that to be a really good help, to not kind of just get tossed around with whatever the fads are, but rather, is this a video that's going to help my people, help my congregation, my flock? And if so, then I'll make it. And if not, then it's just not something I'm going to make. So that's helped me a lot. Not only that, and again, for those of you who have been here on my channel for quite a while, you will know, but the Lord opened the door almost 11 years ago now for me to join the fire service. I started out as a chaplain, and then and down at Solon, and Matt jumped on, and Rich is the chief down there as well. But I started out as a volunteer firefighter chaplain. I was not a firefighter, but then through that, the Lord gave me the desire to get my training, and so now I serve here in my community where I am now as a firefighter, and then I'm also still down with where Matt and Rich are, and I am serving as a chaplain down there as well. So there's a lot of things going on in my life besides YouTube, not to mention wife and 3 little kids. So there are times that just life alone makes it hard for me to keep up with YouTube, but I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful. I love it. I was away for maybe about a month and a half, the first part of the year, as I kind of transitioned and worked with Jason to get the podcast going. And I figured out how much I missed creating videos. So I'm excited to be back. I've got some videos that I'm looking forward to. Hopefully you guys will enjoy them, but some videos that I'm looking forward to creating, and then just really starting to reset my focus as we move forward. And hopefully my channel will be a place where people can come and really begin to think about disciple making and what that looks like biblically and how they can be a part of it. I'm also excited. I was going to do it earlier, and then life took over, but Luke Perkins is on here, and he just threw up a comment. But Luke, go check out Luke and his channel. They are missionaries in Haiti, and I absolutely love his vlogs, and they're great for his supporting churches and those in the States who support him, because he's just showing what's going on there. So if you want to follow a missionary, I've never met Luke, but I pray for Luke, and we've become friends through Value with Video, and I'm going to have Luke on actually at some point, and we're going to do a video where we just talk about the importance of that ministry, and hopefully we can encourage some other missionaries to do that. So anyways, after this, yes, we are going to meet Luke. I can't wait. At some point, we've got to get all our guys together and have a meeting. So Luke asks, what helped you transition to seeing YouTube more than a pandemic thing? Thank you for asking that, because I was going to talk about that. And before the pandemic, my wife would say to me, hey, you should make a video about that. And I would say, no, that's not really my thing. I was a consumer of YouTube a lot, because I would go on there to find answers if I was trying to fix something or figure out something. If I was looking for reviews on a new whatever I was going to buy, I went to YouTube for that all the time. So I was a consumer, but I never thought about putting something, becoming a regular YouTuber. Didn't have that desire. So Luke asks, how did I see it as more? And it really is directly tied to that. I was live streaming on our church Facebook page several times a week during the pandemic when we were shut down, because as a pastor, I thought, well, that's really the best way for me to kind of connect with my people on a regular basis. So almost every day I would just come up with a short devotional. We would go live on the church Facebook page, and it was really fun because everybody could kind of meet there, and they would be in the comments together talking. And maybe 10, 15 minutes, and we'd be on our way. Well, during that time, we found that we were beginning to reach, even through our Facebook page, it wasn't just YouTube, but through our Facebook page, we were reaching people from other countries, and we were reaching people all across the United States. And I started to think about that and realized, okay, and I heard pastors say, man, I can't wait for the pandemic to be done so I don't have to live stream. Well, I started enjoying live streaming, not as an interaction with my people, just the idea of live streaming and creating content. More, I was enjoying the extended ministry opportunity that I had, even seeing the value, not just of reaching beyond our borders, but being able to speak into lives and help our people think through things. YouTube gives me a platform to be able to talk about stuff that I might not talk about from the pulpit. So really, that's what, when I saw the value in it, I began to pray about that and say, okay, Lord, what should I do? How should I do this? I don't want to stop this ministry, whatever it's going to look like in the future. So as I prayed about it, the Lord began to impress upon me that YouTube would be the way to go. And then because of that, there was some people that were offering, different places were offering free YouTube classes. And I took a very helpful, very good class through, Luke knows the name, and some of you may as well, but Think Media was a huge help to me to get me going. And that's where I really started to see the value of it for myself as a pastor, and even the value of it for my family. We now have, like I said, we have our family travel channel, the Putnam 5 channel. And what I love about it is if it never grows, I have memories that have been captured for my family. We will sit down and we will binge watch our own videos and just remember just enjoy the memories of vacations and trips and watching the kids grow. And it's a blessing. And I've even thought as if the Lord were to tarry, obviously nothing's ever guaranteed, but YouTube videos are, in the world's terms, YouTube videos are forever. And I've thought could be a really neat thing for my kids or my grandkids when the Lord calls me home, to be able to sit and listen to me and still learn from me. So there is I found a lot of value on YouTube. And the other side of that is we often have conversations in our church around my YouTube videos because it prompts a thought and then somebody talks to me. And that's where the real value is to me. If I can continue to grow this channel and reach more people, I would love to do that. And I've found I really enjoy it. That's why I've started a Facebook page, and that's kind of almost like a blog for me. And I throw some encouragement on there. If you haven't been there, go there. But I enjoy it. It's an opportunity for me to kind of have a little bit of a creative outlet, but I'm still accomplishing something of eternal value instead of just kind of wasting time. So hey, I want to say thanks, guys, for being here. We're been on here about 40 minutes or so. Is there any other questions or thoughts before we wrap this thing up? Luke, thanks so much for jumping on and asking questions. And definitely looking forward to meeting in person, but looking forward to having you on soon as well. All right, well, you can drop some questions in the comments, maybe a thought for something you'd like me to answer on a video, or whatever it is. Maybe I mentioned something that prompted some more questions. Drop it in the comments later, and we can circle back and cover those things. Thanks for helping me celebrate 2 years. This was actually, for me, my first live stream. I've live streamed with Scott quite a bit. We live stream almost every month or every other month or whatever it is. Live stream constantly for church. But for me to sit down just for my channel and have a live stream and interact with you guys, this was the first one. And I was a little nervous to see who may or may not get on. So for those of you who have jumped in the chat, you're a huge encouragement. Thanks. And hey, like I always say, we'll see you in the next video.